Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Define's One More Chapter Book Club. My name is Caitlin, and I'm the host of this One More Chapter Book Club. Now, we are a book club that meets once a month right here on TikTok Live, always on a Thursday towards the end of every month from 8 p.m. Eastern to 9 p.m. Eastern. And we read all different genres for this book club, and the way it's decided is on the Friday after book club, I will pick out 2 books, again, different genres, and I put a poll up in our TikTok story where you get to vote on which book you'd like to read. And then whichever the majority rules, I will announce on Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern. This month, the winner was That's Not My Name by Megan Lally. So this is the mystery thriller book that we read for March. And hey, Shauna. Hey, Belle. Yay, I'm so happy. Oh my gosh, you set 3 different alarms. Wait, that's amazing. Oh, I'm so glad. I was thinking about you earlier today, Belle. I was like, is she going to be there? I actually want to do something a little different tonight. I want to discuss this book in 3 parts. It'll make the conversation a little clearer, and that way we all know which part we're talking on. And hey, Sonia. So for the 3 parts of this book, I have broken it down into pages 1 to 102. And that is going to be when nobody believed Drew. So during part 1, we're going to discuss the different themes, identity, some favorite moments, impacts that this made. Part 2 is going to be pages 103 to 195. And this is going to be when Mary does not know her identity. And this is also going to be when the kids are teaming up to find her. Then the 3rd part of this book is going to be 196 to the rest to the end, which is when the kids meet Meredith at the diner and Mary remembers who she is, plus, of course, the ending. So yes, I was just going to ask you, Amazing Belle, let me know in the comments if you finished the book, if you're part way through, let me know. Belle said I reread it last night. Wow, you read it in one night? I can see that. I'd originally read it back in October. Okay, wait, Thursday, September, October. Oh, that's amazing. Hey, Jazzy. Read it a few weeks ago. Spooky. Hello, you guys. It was good. Okay. No, it's not that long, which is nice. But still, I'm impressed, Belle. Let's dive in then. So I want to talk about part 1. So the first thing, now that we know where everyone is, now I will say that this is a spoiler discussion. So spoilers will be given away. I want you to let me know one word to describe how this part made you feel. So again, part 1 is really the introduction to Drew and Mary, because we are witnessing a lot with part 1, but there's one main theme here across the board, and that is identity. So with this identity concept, we are introduced to Drew, who is a high school student, and he is adopted by 2 loving dads and becomes the prime suspect in a murder. And we witness his identity being taken from him by the town. So he is shunned from the town. His identity is taken away. And I'm curious whether it's you as a person, someone else you know, if you've witnessed the identity being taken away. Hey, Diamond. And how that really made you feel is because we see Drew, and then we also are introduced to Mary, who truly has no identity right now because she doesn't know who she is because of an accident. And she is being told that you are this person, and she's trying to believe it, but doesn't. So this man is taking her to a remote cabin, a remote fishing cabin, and is being shown these photos, these memories of Mary, and she's like, I just don't relate to this person. So the word I would use for this part is devastated. That is really what part 1 made me feel. I was constantly hurt by all of it. And I can't even imagine what it's like for Drew to go through this. Focusing on Drew first, we'll talk about Mary, but it was just interesting to see this theme of identity really in this part 1 portion, where the town has taken away everything from him. And there was a quote, I wrote it down on page 42. Drew says, now they're all artifacts of my old life. Because he had his swim captain status taken away. He doesn't listen to music. He can't really do anything. Even looking at his own bedspread reminds him of Mary. Or excuse me, of Lola. Sorry. And not only during this time did he lose Lola, but he lost himself. And that is a hard thing to imagine happening. So I wanted to see how that resonated with you and this loss of identity. I know a lot of you finished the book, which is perfect for this. Spooky, wait, you said that you read 200 plus pages in one night. That is the sign right there. Yes, it was fast paced, which was amazing. And the other part that was so frustrating was, as the reader, you are feeling so much for Drew, and we are seeing it all from his perspective. So it's hard to imagine the town's perspective. So it's this feeling of frustration, this sadness for Drew. Like, I imagine your narrative being put in the hands of everyone else. No. You listened to the audiobook. How was that? Did you enjoy the audio portion? The other part that we're seeing with, okay, perfect. That's the best. The other part that's wild to me is that there was so much foreshadowing, but it was done in a way where it allowed you to think about, what does this mean? In a way that still allowed for surprise and shock. Because there was so much with Mary in part 1. You feel like Drew's word was guilt. He just felt guilty and responsible. Yes, he did. That's a great point, Belle. I'm curious how that made you guys feel, because when you, oh my gosh, Spooky, hold that thought, because Spooky said very true, and then the end, I cried, LOL. We will get to the end. I want to just make sure that we don't jump there too fast, but we will get there because I also cried. You guys know I cry during every book. Don't be sorry. I just don't want to forget that you said that. The crazy part is, and we can talk, you were really hoping that Drew was going to find Lola. Yeah, I know. This is also, there was one more part to part 1 that I wanted to talk a little bit about, because Jazzy mentioned the sheriff. And the sheriff scene when Drew left school, first of all, Drew's teacher, that scene made me so upset. When there was someone did, Autumn, of course it was Autumn, put the posters and the words murder on his locker. So then the teacher talks to him and is like, you need to tell everyone what happened. Spooky said that wasn't okay at all, right? No, like, you're supposed to be there for your students. And what was interesting to me with this scene is that Mr. Moore can't stand him. No. How was that okay? Like, how did he think that was going to go? Like, you're supporting him, you're helping him. Like, no, this is not about the town in this moment. This is about Drew and your student. And I kept going back and forth because I'm like, this does not feel like something he can bring up to his student in this way. He was 100% wrong. Why didn't he come up to him and say, like, hey, how are you doing? Or maybe he started that way, but then, of course, tails off to, you need to tell the town. Give everyone their reason to find closure. Because then, of course, what is Drew expected to do? Just stay in school and take all of this after seeing his locker be spread with such what he knows to be lies? So he then, of course, as honestly any kid would do, he left. Like, I can't blame him. And he went to the boat launch. And the sheriff, who also had no right, in my opinion, to follow him and stop him and be like, what are you doing here? And I can just like picture this scene in my head so clearly, which is a great sign for the book. But did this scene hit you guys the way it hit me? Because he got this evidence. And again, this was a little bit of the foreshadowing that I thought was done so nicely, where he took his car, so what was he supposed to do? Yes. He did take his car, which I was like, that's not great. Nobody left school early. And then the sheriff just followed him? You wanted to throw hands with him. Okay, so that is really good to hear. I'm curious what stood out to you guys most with part 1, and then we'll dive into part 2 next. But there was one other thing with the foreshadowing that I loved, and that was closer to the end of this part, Mary's last sentence in her chapter was, and then he reaches behind me and locks us in. If your heart didn't sink, my heart sunk to the ground. So I'm curious how, especially in the beginning of the book, as we are witnessing Drew and Mary and their loss of identity, how that made you feel. Belle said, felt bad for Mary. She was so scared and confused. Did you think it was suspicious at first? Or did you... Like, I'm curious which parts everyone felt was most suspicious in the beginning. Because there was a lot of suspicion happening from Autumn to the sheriff to Wayne to even the police officer who took her in, Miss Bowman, I believe. It was so sad. Dad didn't get her the right clothes for one. Yes. Good point. Bowman. Yes, okay. Do you think that one little fun thing I was thinking about was whether or not those were the size that Mary was, or if he really just thought that they would fit her? Or were they Mary's old clothes? That just popped in my head. I actually didn't think about that before. Oh, that's eerie. Oh, hold up. Wait. Is that what they were? That's so bad. Ugh. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? When he brought in just like Belle said, when he got the change of clothes and she went in and like they didn't fit. That's a gross thought. Yes, the strawberries. So okay, yeah, let's dive in. We can talk a little bit more too about part 2. So just so we're clear, like so we're all caught up and stuff. I know we're all going to be excited to talk about the end, but part 2 I'm considering to be 103 to 195. So this starts with Drew and Autumn's conversation. So Autumn finds out, or Autumn has this voicemail that she has kept hidden this entire time, and then decides to give it to her father. And she she snuck into his bedroom window and finds the evidence and to confront him. And Autumn is such a complicated character that really grew on me throughout. So I'm curious as to if your opinion of Autumn changed throughout part 2 as well. Belle said he told her, you don't know the rules. That was, the V-neck. That was so creepy. That was another little foreshadowing there that something was up in terms of Mary's background and like some big conflict going on there. I want to say that was the first real like appropriate behavior that we were seeing from him. That was so creepy. Sorry, that scene just brings up so much, like so many. I felt so much in that scene because you can really picture it. And the feeling of shame that Mary felt was not okay. Spooky said, yeah, and she knew she didn't like floral or bright colors. It must be so funny of what sparks little memories. Because she knew that she didn't like florals or bright colors. She liked Lizzo. I think she wrote she's a good catch, which I thought was funny. And like would slowly build that list. That was a cool part too. But she had the floral jacket and she's like, this can't be mine. And yes, that's okay. So I think that'll be that was Ben Hooper, which is wild. I would say that was the one plot twist I did see coming. Also, isn't it in Stranger Things? Is he like Ben Hopper? Or is he Detective Hopper or something? I don't know. I always read it as Hopper, so it's hard for me to say Hooper. You were sad about Hooper, right? Because couldn't you picture this, like, I think he was an elderly, lovely guy who just was at the wrong place at the wrong time and decided, you look familiar. It was so sad. Did you see it coming, though? Somewhat. Yes, because he thought she looked familiar. Yeah. And when she went back into the room and heard some noise or some scuffles. And then he came in without a jacket. It's funny how the brain can play tricks on you, because she was almost gaslighting herself during it. But I can't blame her, because she doesn't have this identity, and slowly she's starting to recognize, oh, maybe this isn't really right. Something's not right, but how do I know that it's not right? Yeah, that noise. I was like, poor guy. The dad probably thought he was a busybody and would ask too many questions. 100%. Because he probably would have. Or he would have. What I think would have happened was if he would go back home and put on the news or something, he would have seen a picture of her and been like, yeah, I think she's living right next door. But poor Ben Hooper. Poor Mrs. Hooper. At least she will get closure. That was my happy takeaway with that. So it's not left up in the air. There was one other scene. Oh, hey, Lady D, thank you. The other thing that I thought was for part 2 specifically, the relationship that we build between Max, Autumn, and Drew. So heartwarming. And that was when we really started to see this shift with Drew's identity, because sure, the whole town is moving or still against him, but at least now he has 2 people to back him up. Were you surprised by Autumn, though? I want to go back to that question, because when did part 2 start again? Great question. I'm considering part 2 as when Autumn breaks into Drew's window. That's what I'm considering it. Chapter 11. Yes, just to make it a little clearer for us. No, thank you. Great question. That scene, I would say for me, Autumn had such wonderful character development, and she remained so spunky throughout. And get in, losers. We're going sleuthing. Wait, yes, the best quote, Spooky. That was Max who said that, right? Hands down, such a great character. Belle said, Autumn started coming around the more she talked to Drew. Yes. And she is also... Oh, okay. Hold that thought, Shauna. Love that point. Very loyal against her dad, because she's also put in such a tough position where her identity has been the daughter of the sheriff and Lola's best friend. And of course, like, she has, hey, Lisa, of course she has her own identity outside of that, but that's where she exists. So she has this tough situation of, deep down, she did not think that Drew was capable of this, but she wanted her best friend back and needed someone to be angry at. And she went with what everyone else was doing. But she not giving up the voicemail until that one situation happened was so telling. Belle said it was her best friend and just wanted her back. When she gets in the... Yeah, wait, sorry. I was just thinking about how difficult of a time that must have been, because we never really find out if she thought her dad was doing enough. I'm sure we don't, like, she couldn't have, if the fact that the sheriff's daughter was the best friend of the missing girl added a whole other layer to this. That's hard to imagine. But there is one when I thought it was so funny when Autumn comes through the window, and Autumn also then gives Max a hard time. And then Drew says, pot, meet kettle. A little foreshadowing there of what's to come, which is so cute. Shauna also brought up a great point when Drew had the talk with the father. Did anyone else's heart just sink? There were so many moments I think my heart just sunk in this book. Because he so desperately wanted the dad to believe him, excuse me. Oh, Belle, good point. I don't think she fully supports her dad because she helps with the evidence. Yes. Do you think that maybe is why then she doesn't give him the evidence right away? Hey, Diamond. He should get in trouble, as in the sheriff should get in trouble, because I agree. And he does, which we love to see. That's a great point, Belle. Yeah, it's almost like she thought that this, such a good point, because the reason she didn't give up the voicemail was because nothing was, because she deep down didn't think that it was Drew. So she's like, if I give this over, well, Drew's done for. So good point. And that's perfect, because that actually is he messed up the recording with Meredith. Yes. Even before that, because, sorry, I was thinking about the order of it. Oh, I missed that comment. Spooky said Drew had to hold his own. Guys, the police break-in shook. Who thought to do that? Autumn, of course, because she's a spunky character and I love her for it. But that was wild. It was, I think, I'm curious when you guys, what point in this section shocked you the most? Because there was so many different points to part 2, which again is the chapter 11 to them meeting up with Meredith. So we're not into Meredith quite yet. Okay, Shauna said the van that was recently seen several times during the time, but no missing girl. Yes. One thing that really shocked me was the fact that they did break into the police station and, quote, got away with it. Yes, up to chapter 21. The fact that, like, they did that, I don't know. It just made me laugh, and I thought it was so bold, and I had so much respect for it. But I think that this is really the place in the book when, because at the same time, I know we've talked a lot about Drew in part 2, just because that's, like, I think, kind of the core component in my opinion, because then at the same time, I think Mary was featured a little less, which I think was really well done. But this is when she starts to question things a little bit more. And this was the strawberry. Nope. Wait, which one came back first? The strawberries or the eggs? The eggs came first, yeah. That surprised me, but they were desperate to get Lola back. Good for them. Good for them. Because if they didn't do that, nothing would have been solved. And also really smart. That surprised you about them breaking in. I did not see that one coming. With Max as the getaway driver, even though he wasn't even in the front. He wasn't the driver on the way there. He never got to actually drive his own car. It was always Drew, which is so funny. And when Max is just like the secret hero, because he spilt something in the police office station, I believe it was, just to, like, you know, dilly-dally a little more. And he did it again later on. This is the part of the book, I think, that really shifted everything from isolation to the investigation to the momentum portion, which I'm going to guide us now into part 3, because we've talked so much about all the different parts about part 1 and part 2. And we will get to the end, like the actual ending. Before we do that, let's just break it down just how we got there, because I do want to come back to the theme of identity. This part was when all of the identities start to come together. So the first part of part 3 is when the kids, I call them the kids, they go to the diner. The hope, guys, the amount of hope that you could just feel in this portion was incredible. Heartbreaking by the end, but this hope, these kids need to go into like being detectives when they're older. But the conversation with Meredith in the diner is where part 3 kicks off. And again, we're seeing the identity crisis of I'm Meredith being like, you guys are just kids. Like, what's happening here? First, you tricked me into coming here with your fake accent that sounded extremely Southern and just like the secretary. But now I have the sheriff's daughter in front of me. Where is the sheriff? Why are you not taking this seriously? So that was a big component. And we also have the most annoying waitress ever. I didn't really get why she was so anti these kids in the first place. Did you guys get that? Like, sure, the kids were taking up a booth, but there was no one else there. Like, plenty of booths were open for people to come in. Right? Wait, that's such a good point. Spooky said, I thought she was going over here and help. Because isn't that what you would do? Belle said, but Meredith just wanted the girl to be safe, as in Lola or Autumn. Because do you think that Meredith actually cared? I'm a little like, Lola. Yes. Oh my gosh. Such a great scene right there, Shauna. Oh, you do think that Meredith actually wanted Lola to be safe. Okay. Me too. At the end, I guess that's a good point. Like, of course she wants her to be safe, but she was so sketchy when she walked in. I didn't quite know, like, why was she 45 minutes late? The whole thing it was an awkward conversation that only ended up in the first place because of Max. Like, what? Max? How did he manage this, though, is such a great point. I picture there's, like, no staff working. It's really just the waitress and the chefs. So Max went to the bathroom, and while the two of them... No, that was Nana who called the sheriff. Meredith didn't call... Oh. Yeah, she left the tip. But then didn't, like, care when the kids showed up, which was the weird part to me. But leave it to Max. How in the world he knew how to rewind the tapes is kind of insane to me. Oh my gosh. No, Belle, don't be sorry. You're right. Oh my gosh. I don't want anyone to say sorry. No. I love the discussion. Such good points. Because you are right. She did call the sheriff. I kind of forgot that that's how this whole thing started. She called the sheriff. But why was she so sketchy? I can't get that out of my head, to be honest with you guys. Oh, we all do, Belle. You're not confused. No, you're right. But, like, why? That scene really irked me, if you couldn't tell. I also wanted to point out that, can we go to the thrift store with the clothes? Absolutely we can. Nana's thrift store. Oh, also a good point. Belle said maybe she felt like she could be wrong. I could see that. That's a great point. That's such a tricky situation because I don't know what I would do if I was Meredith and these 3 kids show up. Like, I thought it was bold of Autumn, though, to say that she was the sheriff's daughter. I didn't know if she was going to say that or not. The thrift store scene. Oh my gosh, you guys. I did not see that coming. Fabulous point. Maybe to make them look more credible. Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. Because if you have the sheriff's daughter in front of you, you're going to be like, okay, a little less sketch. Shauna, what part of Nana's thrift store did you enjoy? I did not see Nana. Because now we can say it, like, I did not see that. I know her name's not Nana, but I call her Nana in my head. I did not see that she was going to be the saving grace in all of this. Did you guys see that coming? Yes, the father. No, the sheriff did not appreciate the phone calls. And I can't blame him for that. His ego was really hit. But that was a big surprise. When Nana's the one to save the day. Belle loved her. I couldn't tell if she must have been, was she Nana? Like, I know that sounds like a silly question, but she didn't seem like a Nana when they met her. I thought that they were describing her a little younger than I pictured, but it's funny to me how that one trip really changed the entire story. Hey, Betsy. Welcome. We talked a little bit about 1 and 2, Betsy. I am breaking this up into 3 portions. So there's 3 parts of this discussion tonight. We talked about the first part, the second part, and now we are discussing part 3. Part 3 being when Meredith met the kids at the diner to the end. Oh no, Spooky, it froze for you. Did it freeze for anyone else? Or are we okay? Okay, you're good. Yay, we missed you, Spooky. Okay, just checking. Amazing. Nana, she's hilarious. She got the job done. The other thing I'm curious about for you guys was, I do want to switch to Mary in this part because this is when it all changes for Mary. Really the scene when she comes face to face with the coyote. However, one thing I will say is it's pretty impressive that she mentioned that from a video, she was able to get out of the twisties. I can't think of the name. What do you call them? They weren't like the handcuffs, but you guys know which ones I'm talking about. The tight things. Zip ties, yes. That was impressive to me because the amount of videos I see on TikTok and I'm like, oh, if I'm ever in a situation, am I going to remember this video? Like, no. But she did, which I thought was really cool. And when she realizes that she is not Mary, she has this realization somehow of, I cannot take her to a second location. I did think that Mary's like, I thought one of her parents might have been in like the military or something like that just because of her instincts. Hey, Nakia, welcome. So that was a little bit of a shock that I did not see. I thought that that would have been a component to her. But I'm curious, did you all see the plot twist coming? Belle said, I feel like she was stronger and smarter than she realized. Yes. 100%. And the moment it all clicked for her, I'm trying to think of the exact moment. Was it right before the coyote? It was officially the coyote, but we started to see this real shift when Officer Bowman comes up and he lies. Yes. Guys. Whew, that scene right there shifted it all. That was like the beginning to the end. The beginning of the end. And I'm curious if you guys saw this twist coming. We're gonna talk about it. So now we are also talking about like the actual end of the book. So feel free to share your thoughts on this. I'm curious, Belle, what also makes you think, like, do you think she ever realized how strong she was? Even in the end of the book? Spooky, I felt it, but was still having hope. Okay. Oh, Betsy, I don't think she did. Interesting. Okay. What makes you say that? That's such a great point. That's a fascinating point. Not until the moment she realizes Wayne is back. Yes. Did anyone else like Belle said it's like her instincts kicked into run. Okay, I see what you're saying. 100%. In that moment, that was, I think, really if she was going to make it or not. If she had gotten in that van, this would have been over. And I'm really impressed that she knew that, because you hear it all the time on the TV shows and stuff, but to have that logic kick in, it's really impressive. When she runs and she's running through the trees and all this stuff, I thought she was gonna get to the house, like to the Hooper's house, and I thought then something dramatic was gonna happen. So I was shocked when then it ended up that Wayne captured her again, because there was so much to do with the Hoopers that I saw that might have been the connection point. Yeah, she found Hooper in the ground with a hand sticking out. Right by the swing. Like, really? You had to do it by the swing? She loved that swing. And I wanted to... Yes. When he... The scene... Oh my gosh, Belle. That scene, good point. When he came into her bed in the middle of the night, it was 100%. My first thought was, he's here to take the card from Bowman. I'm surprised he didn't take it sooner, but I guess I would have given it up. Yes. Sorry, I just wanted to refresh it so I could see all your comments. Coming by. Yes. Then he lied about Bowman coming by. Whew. I feel like in that moment, Wayne should have said something about Mr. Bowman. Not a complete lie. I was a little surprised about that too. And then I also wanted to go, I don't remember, Spooky, I know you said something about the end in the beginning of the conversation. I don't remember what it was, but I wanted to make sure that if you wanted to say it again, that we got to talk about it. Yeah, she starts putting it together as her memory slowly comes back. It had a lot to do with her dreams too. I wonder if that was like researched, if someone loses their memory, if it is through their dreams that they start to... That's when their dreams start to bring back their memories. That would have been something interesting. I actually didn't look that up. Oh, the guilt that Drew felt. Okay, you guys, let's get there. Let's talk about it. I cried at the end just thinking about it. I'm like getting teary-eyed. The moment that Drew opened that up and saw, "You're not Lola." You guys, I really thought that Mary was Lola the entire time. Oh, you thought about losing Odessa. So that must have really resonated with you. Wait, I'm glad we all cried. Okay, so we all had a great cry. Ugh. that made me, oh my gosh, just thinking about it, you guys, it's heartbreaking. Especially because there was a moment when she first sees the list of girls' names that Lola isn't on the list. So I actually had a moment of, this is Lola, this is it. And nope, there's another plot twist to come. I really did not see that coming at all. Especially, you guys, even though I know you remember when Officer Bowman said, you really have the wrong girl? I didn't think he was right. I really thought it was another sheriff situation, and it was like, and it wasn't. He was like, no, you really don't have the right girl, and it wasn't, and that broke me. You were super excited for them to meet, only to realize it wasn't Lola. Like, we celebrate the girl we'll never stop missing. Stop. And like, guys, it's so emotional. It's like, it's funny how you know, like, something is gonna happen at the end, and yet you still cry anyway. It was also in the moment when they're fighting for the chains, and she says, and she's like, go, Drew, go. You need to get out of here. And he's like, no, I'm Drew, by the way. And she's like, what? He's like, what's your name? She's like, Madison. That moment to me was insane, because that was a huge shift in the identity theme, because all of a sudden it's like, it just like clicked. Oh. Spooky said, one girl too late. Whew. It hits different. It hit different because you can feel it all. Like, Madison is so happy, or grateful, I should say, to be alive, but at the same time, she's not who he wanted. So how is she supposed to feel? In that moment, at least. So even though Drew, I know, was heartbroken and so devastated, it really showed Drew's character the best. Like, I think that was such a great representation of Drew's character right there. You loved feeling it, though. It was a great choice for book club. I'm so happy to hear that. That makes me so happy. Do you think, did you guys find at least the end satisfying? Because I did. Wayne did take the other girls. Guys, awful. The part that was really hard to... Spooky said, oh, she had the jacket. Yes. That brings me to the point that was just kind of making me think a little bit. Was... Oh, I lost my train of thought. Oh, the fact that in the end, we find out that he took Madison, or excuse me, Lola, but she didn't even make it like a day. This one is This Not My Name, Nakia, by Megan Lally. I don't have a choice. I'm still here. She'd want me to make the most of it. And I think she really would. But I don't know. I just like don't know how Drew can accept it. And I know towards the end that, yes, we haven't said it yet, Nakia. Stay tuned. the ending when Drew found out that it really wasn't, quote, his fault, even though we knew that, the fact that that Lola didn't survive like a day, but she made it to the cabin. No, so this is a standalone book. She has other books, but this is a standalone. Do you guys think that Lola just didn't remind him of Mary enough, or she was fighting back? Like, what do you think it made it so that Madison lasted 5 days, but we don't see Lola lasting 5 days, which heartbreaking. Betsy, I think she fought back. Oh. Ugh. That's a good, yeah. Because he wasn't going to like anyone fighting back. Do you think in his mind he really thought that she was Mary? Like each of these girls? Because I do in the end think like he really thought that these were Mary. Oh, you don't? Okay. Wow. What makes you say that? And I'm also curious. Yes, I think his mental state wasn't good. No. And when we find out what happened to the real Mary, it's like hard to even talk about because it's so real, you know? The other thing I thought was interesting is kind of to bring it all together was the ending, really, where they're sitting at the boat dock. And yes, that's when we're all probably sobbing. But Madison, when she was laying down the jacket, blowing out the candle. Yes, because I guess we were all sobbing at this scene. Oh, so tough. And Madison, we see her identity because one of the themes that we want to make sure that I wanted to make sure that we come back to is kind of how it all came together with identity. Because we are left with this question of how will each of these people find their identity again? Madison, I think, is trying to get back to normal life in a way that I thought was really strong of her. I mean, she's going to softball tryouts the next day. I'm like, that mom must never, ever want her to leave the house, even though I know she drove her. She was still watching her, of course. I'm like, I don't know how I would send her to softball tryouts the next day. But I was like, that's really strong of both the mother and the daughter. Whereas at the same time, Drew can't wait to leave. Because he's really left with like, I still have this guilt of, yes, everyone's telling me that even if it wasn't this night, it would have still happened. But he has to live with then the way that it ended. And that's not something anyone knows how to handle. So there is a lot of layering to this ending because then at the same time, the sheriffs basically run out of town, which good riddance. But then Autumn loses her dad because of that. And Drew, who is clearly can empathize with the situation, is like, well, these people who are now just being like, hey, Drew, you're the best. Like, we love you. We knew this all along. Like, he's like, no, like, that's not what happened. You can't rewrite the narrative. So how do you guys think that they'll find their identity again? And is this something that you related to throughout the book? Is there a moment in time when you feel like, whether it's been you or someone else in your life, have really struggled with this identity shift? And that's something I'm curious about. And if there's any last minute not last minute, but any remaining comments, scenes that stood out to you, anything we didn't cover tonight that you wanted to talk about, let me know. Oh, the last question was really, how will they find their identity again? And whether or not there was any remaining points, favorite moments, favorite scenes that you wanted to talk about. Yeah. Shauna said, real world missing people and kids hits me. Yes. Belle said, that is something that will leave scars and they may never fully heal. Just takes time. There's that saying, I know everyone probably says it, but it's like, time heals, but you don't forget. They'll never be the same. Oh, 100%. And it's this question of like, how do they find their identity again? For Drew, it's going to be leaving. And like he said, he's graduating, which 100%, I was like, if they don't let this kid graduate, that's not okay. But I'm like, fire Mr. Moore at the same time. And the impact that this makes on really everyone involved. There's so much. Belle said, I feel like that is in so many different situations, though. What do you mean? Explain that a little more. Oh, riot. Yes, 100%. I will. Yes. Honestly. Go to the graduation, hold up signs. Yes. Belle said healing. Yes. Yeah. Finding yourself again. And it's also a matter of, I don't think that you can find yourself again. I think he's going to have to create himself again because he'll never go back to who he once was. But he has to learn to live. Betsy, I'll definitely be checking out more of her books after this one. Yes, I think this was her first book too. I'm happy to hear that. Yes, I think she has one or two others, right? I'm happy to hear that. And as we wrap up this live, I will be announcing next month's book club pick. Before we do, I do just want to take a moment and I want to thank you all for being part of the One More Chapter book club and for tuning in tonight. Again, for One More Chapter book club, we do meet on Thursdays once a month towards the end of the month from 8 p.m. Eastern to 9 p.m. Eastern. Now, the way that we have this set up is that every other month is an author spotlight. So, oh, 1 second. Okay, quick. Had to confirm a button. So let's showcase next month's book. I'm really excited about this one. This one is oh wait, thank you, Belle, for saying that. Belle said this has been a great discussion. Thank you, everyone. This next month's is an author spotlight, and I'm so honored to announce that we are reading a novella. So we are going to be meeting Thursday, April 30th at 8 p.m. Eastern, again on TikTok Live. And, oh, Nikki, you're so sweet. This one is available on KU as well. there is no audiobook format. This is Carly Wilson's debut novella. So I want to emphasize that this is a novella, so it is a little shorter, which is also a wonderful breakup and things. And she will be joining us. You can get this anywhere online or KU. And the TikTok live event is all made, so you guys can register for it. And I want to thank you guys again for being part of this. Her mom actually painted this cover, which I think is really insane. Like, that's so cool. Lisa said shorter is better for me. Perfect. So unfortunately, no, Nakia, this one does not have an audiobook. It is a debut novella. It is on KU. Yes, huge spooky. Really trying to make sure that the books we get are available on there. So this one I'm really excited about. Such a beautiful cover. Yes, I cannot wait. And I believe she's in the process of trying to publish a first full book. So I'm really excited. Oh, this one is going to be one you guys don't want to miss. So again, Thursday, April 30th at 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on TikTok Live. No, this one does not have any other books out. This is her debut novella, which is so special, and I'm honored that we get to meet with her and hear about this journey. It's going to be so great, you guys. Yeah. Thank you all so much for showing up tonight, being part of the One More Chapter book club, and keep navigating each day with purpose, you guys. Have an amazing night, and I'll see you all next time. Good night.